Hi. So this is how I automated my job, and a big part of it so that my life would be easier and I'd save a ton of time. So a sample patient or all settlement data that I'm going to show you would take me around 12 hours to do. So we have one right here. So this is what I mean. All these patients, if I were to create figures for them, clean their data, and everything, it would take me around 12 hours, sometimes 16. So that translates to about 2 days of work. So I have these figures right here, these data points, .smr files, and these are what I use to create figures for my patient, for these patients, and clean their data and save them as .mat files. So this is part of my job is cleaning up signals. So how I would do this regularly would be I'd have MATLAB open, and I would type in the following thing, giving it the data path of where the data is contained and the file to convert. So let's pick 1218 this time. So let's create figures for 1218. So this is what I would be doing. I'd press enter, and then, obviously the program will run, and I'll wait for it to finish running. And what it does is it saves these figures onto my desktop, so such that I can analyze these later on if need be. So right now they're done. So I can now click close all and move on to the next patient. So the next patient I'd have to scroll down and find. So 2120. So I'll go here, pick 2120. Sorry about the motorcycle in the back. Pick 2120. And now my dog is playing with stuff. And yeah, so that creates the figures for this. Now I can move on. I can close all of them, and repeat the process and go through all of the figures that I need to create. And I would have to go finish this patient and then move on to this patient, which this one's a toss one because I figured out the figures for this one are not clean, and then move on to this patient and do the same thing. And in total, this all will take me 16 hours. So I decided to teach myself some Python, and I have a ton of Python scripts that I've been practicing on, and I created to work with and to learn to automatize some work that can be automatized that has a pattern to it. So like I said, the pattern here is finding the file name and then rerunning it to create the files and then analyzing them. So since it saves the figures, the nice thing is, since the figures are being saved, is that I can open them up later and pick the ones that look weird. So these are some of the figures that I figured were weird looking. So that's what we have right there. That's how I can decide if these figures are not that great. So I made a script that does exactly what I do, and it does it faster than me. So it was called AutoFigure right here. It's the one I created, and it is what I do in 16 hours, well, 12 to 16 hours, depending on how efficient I am that day. But it does it in 40 minutes. But right now, I can supply it the number ID of the patient, or I can give it no number, and what it'll do is that it will go to this path, so data. So if I go to my research, if I go to data, it will go through here, it'll find all the folder names, find all the patient numbers, find all the SMR files, and start creating figures for them one by one and do it. Or I can say, actually, I only want you to create the figures for 2120. So instead of just this line right here, if, and then this line, that would, if I didn't include this part, it would run for all these patients. But since I included this line, it means that I only want it to do for 2120. So it's going to go through this file and find all the SMR files and then index them. And once it indexes them, it's going to start creating basically what I do. And it's very easy to run, and it does what I do way faster. So if I open up the terminal, so we just have to navigate to this file now. So let's see where we are right now. Desktop, CD research. Then we need research code, I think this is in. Oops. There we go. List. There's autofigure.py. So all I gotta write is autofigure. Oops, sorry, we gotta write Python 3 autofigure. It's .py. So now what it does is that it imports the libraries that I needed. So that's the first part of the code, which I had to do manually every time I launched it, but I didn't show that case. I guess I just didn't show it. But it does that, and now it's starting to pick the patient number, and start going through it. So I guess I chose 2130 because I opened up my rough draft of my code. But right now, I guess we're working with the code for 2130. Another thing that I didn't show you guys is that every time I change patients, I actually have to go through this file and change where it saves the data. So I'd open this file and go change this to 2130 or 2120 or 2121. And there's another save one where it's somewhere around here where I have to change that. So what this code does is that it actually automatically opens that file up and changes it, so that I don't have to manually go into the MATLAB file, change the save location. This does it for me automatically. So for the first few seconds, it takes a while to launch because it's loading up the MATLAB engine. And once it's done that, it starts running through them. See, there you go. It finished one of them, and now it's doing the second one already. Whereas you saw how long it took me to do 2, it's doing 3 already really quickly, and they're already being saved. So right now it's only going to do 2130 because I specified 2130, but it could have done all of these if I specified to do all of them. It cleans up the data just like as I would and saves it just like I would, but it does it way faster than me. And it also changes the MATLAB file so I don't have to. So instead of me actively clicking on my computer for 16 hours-ish, I can just let the script run for about, I think it's 35 minutes to 40 minutes, and in that time it will do all these patients. And by then I'm done all my work, and all I have to do is open up these files and analyze them myself, because you need a human touch to that to check if they're bad data or good data. Or I could apply machine learning to it, but I don't know machine learning yet. I just learned Python this month, and maybe machine learning would be the next step. I do have another script I'm thinking of automating another task that I have coming soon, which is extracting data and then creating plots for them. But as soon as I do get that, I will be creating that one next. But yeah, this is just going to finish now, and that would be all. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.